All right, it's best bets time heading into Week 5 of the 2018 NFL regular season. Last week I was able to crow because I was 3-0 in the Week 3 best bets. Of course, I made up for that in a bad way by going 0-3 in Week 4. MDS won 1-1 with his picks. Look, it seems easy, but you know what? It really is not easy, MDS, picking games against the spread.
It really isn't. It's been kind of an interesting exercise. You and I have been picking games against each other straight up now for 7 years on the site, but this is just the first year since gambling's now legal in more places. You and I decided to do some against the spread, and we really are finding out how good those odds makers are. You know, the house wins for a reason, and that is they set those lines in spots where you think you have a good pick, and you're just off. I mean, you found that out on Monday night. The line actually moved. You had the Chiefs -5, which was a loss. If only you had chosen it later in the week when it moved to Chiefs -3.5, it would have been a win for you. But it's just crazy how those point spreads, they are tough to beat. There's not many people who consistently beat the spread.
And I actually thought it was a win because I saw 3.5. And you reminded me that it was actually 5 when we made the pick. So I uttered a profanity a couple of times, and then I moved on. Moving right along to this week's games, MDS, you get the first pick. Odd week, that's you. Even week, it's me. And the way this goes for anybody who's tuning in for the first time, we each pick a team against the spread, and we can't pick the same team. We can pick the other team from the same game, which we've done at least once, but we can't pick the same team. So, MDS, you're up first.
Well, I was going through this week's point spreads, and I was kind of hoping to find an underdog I thought would win outright. And the truth is, I didn't find many, but the one I decided to go with is the Broncos getting 1 point against the Jets. I felt like the Broncos, I think, are a better team than they've shown. I thought the way they played tough against the Chiefs showed me a little something. I think that Case Keenum, he's missing passes, but I still think Case Keenum is actually a better quarterback than most people think he is. I don't think Sam Darnold is ready for that pass rush that the Broncos bring with Von Miller and company. So I like the Broncos probably to win a close game outright, and anytime I like a team that's getting a point to win outright, I'm going to take them. So I'll take Broncos +1 as my first pick.
Yeah, that was the first one on my list as well, and I agree with you. I think the Broncos better than the Jets right now. Case Keenum put a little bit too much air under a pass to Demaryius Thomas that would have been like a mini version of the Minneapolis Miracle because the Broncos would have won that game if Keenum connects with Thomas, who was wide open, and we wouldn't have been talking about Patrick Mahomes nearly as much the next day. We would have been talking about Case Keenum pulling it off again with late-game heroics when it looked like it was over for the second time since the Minneapolis Miracle. He gets it done, but it wasn't to be. But I agree with you. I think the Broncos +1 at the Jets is a good play. There's a desperation game brewing just about 100 miles from where I'm sitting. It's up the road in Pittsburgh, and the Falcons and the Steelers get together. The Falcons at 1-3, the Steelers 1-2-1. It's a desperation game for both teams. The Steelers are giving 3, and I like the Steelers in a bounce-back game, especially because the Falcons have never won in Pittsburgh. Now, they only play there every 8 years, but they still have never won in Pittsburgh. You get them out of that dome. They've been in the dome for 3 straight weeks. I don't know what the weather's going to be in Pittsburgh, but it's not going to be dome conditions. That field is not the same quality, that's for sure. And I think the Steelers will stabilize. The Steelers' defense will be better. It can't be much worse. The Falcons' defense is abysmal. I think the Steelers will win this game by more than 3, and it could end up being a shootout between the Steelers and the Falcons.
Yeah, and I like your way of thinking as well, and I kind of agree with the idea that the Steelers really have their backs against the walls. I mean, if we go back and look at the preseason odds in the divisions, the Steelers weren't just the favorites to win the AFC North. They were the overwhelming favorites to win the AFC North, according to those preseason odds. And now here they are. They're finding themselves way down there with the Browns behind both the Bengals and the Ravens. I agree with you. I think the Steelers are going to really come out knowing they need a win and come out playing well, and I think you made a good pick there. But my next pick is another team that I think is a little bit concerned about where it sits in its division, and that's the Packers. I think even though the Packers beat the Bears in week 1, they have to be a little bit concerned that the Bears have now reeled off 3 straight, and the Packers cannot afford a division loss if they're going to keep pace with the Bears, and I don't think they'll have one on Sunday in Detroit. I like the Packers giving up 1 point to a Lions team that has just been way too inconsistent. We've seen the Lions play extremely well on a Sunday night against the Patriots. We've also seen them play extremely poorly on a Monday night against the Jets. I thought last week Dak Prescott found some of the soft spots in that Lions defense, especially late in the game, throwing passes to Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott wisely stopped trying to go at Darius Slay, who's the Lions' best cornerback, and started going at the Lions linebackers, some of the guys on that Lions defense who aren't able to really hold up well in coverage. I think Aaron Rodgers can exploit some of those same areas that Dak Prescott did late in that Cowboys-Lions game, and I like the Packers -1 to beat the Lions, definitely by more than just 1 point.
All right, the Carolina Panthers had week 4. This is week 5. They had week 4 off. They had extra time to get ready for this one. They have been a different team at home, a much better team at home. They have the Giants limping in to Carolina, and the Giants have not looked great so far this year. The offensive and defensive lines not as good as they need to be, and I think with extra time to get ready, Christian McCaffrey coming into his own, Cam Newton still Cam Newton, more time to fine-tune the offense under new coordinator Norv Turner. I think 7, I think it should be higher than 7. Anytime I look at a line and I say, wow, it should be a lot higher than that, that tells me I think that team is going to cover, and I think the Panthers are going to cover. I think the Giants aren't quite in the process of falling apart. They're just not nearly as good as we thought they were going to be this year because the line play isn't where it was supposed to be. And when the Giants have good line play on both sides of the ball, that's when they're contenders. And this year, it just doesn't seem like it's there.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I don't think the Giants are making the kinds of plays on offense that they need to make if they're going to keep pace with a Panthers offense that I think is looking good. So I think you made another good pick, but it's not one of the ones I was going to pick because my next pick is one I feel pretty good about, and that is picking the 49ers, but not so much picking the 49ers as picking against the Cardinals. The 49ers are giving 4.5, and I just don't like that Cardinals offense, whether it's Sam Bradford, whether it's Josh Rosen. I think the result is going to be the same. That Cardinals offense is just not going to put many points on the board, and I like the 49ers giving 4.5. And I also like C.J. Beathard, I think, a little bit more than most people do. Obviously, it's a huge disappointment to the 49ers that they lost Jimmy Garoppolo for the season. That almost feels like it kills their entire season. It also feels like it could kill some big NFL prime time games where they kind of put the 49ers in prime time during the meat of the schedule, thinking that Jimmy Garoppolo would draw eyeballs. But I think C.J. Beathard might play a little bit better than people are expecting and make the 49ers kind of an interesting team. Not a team that I think is going to be a title contender, not a team that I think will beat the Rams in the NFC West, but a team that I think will be competitive, playing some close, maybe more exciting games than people are expecting. And when they're playing a bad team like the Cardinals, I think the 49ers should win pretty comfortably. I like the 49ers by more than 4.5.
See, that one scared me away because Josh Rosen looked pretty good in his first game with the Cardinals last week, and they gave the Seahawks everything they can handle. So I don't want to make any proclamations about the Cardinals under Rosen just yet because those first 3 losses not on him, lost 4 on him, but it was a close one, and maybe they could upset the 49ers this weekend. You started this with a team that is an underdog that you think will win straight out, and I feel the same way about my last pick for Sunday. The Vikings went into Philadelphia in January 14-3. Including that game, in their last 5, they are 1-3-1, and this is a chance for the Vikings with extra days to get ready, with clear flaws on defense that should be fixable, like not putting a linebacker on a receiver, with an Eagles team that still feels like a work in progress on both sides of the ball, maybe feeling the aftermath of playing into the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl congratulation tour after that, and maybe having a little complacency going into the next season. I feel like the Vikings understand that it's on the line for them right now. They've got to get this win, and I think they win straight up. I think they exercise a demon or two, and they lay the foundation to go on a bit of a run here because they've had the extra time, because Mike Zimmer knows the urgency, and because the offense, MDS, of the Vikings, underrated. The offense has been great. They should have been blown out by the Rams on Thursday night, and they were still in it late because Kirk Cousins has been great this year when they need him to be.
Well, and I'll tell you, in a strange sense, I enjoy at this time of year a game where two teams that thought they were Super Bowl contenders both have two losses, a 1-2-1 team against a 2-2 team. It sounds strange, but I actually kind of like this game more than I would like a game between two 4-0 teams, because a game between two 4-0 teams at this point in the season, you figure, look, whoever loses still probably a playoff team, still probably feels like they have championship potential. But boy, the loser of this Vikings-Eagles game, they're really going to be feeling like they're hurting to have three losses through week 5 when these two teams, I think, both headed into the season thinking, hey, we have every reason to believe we're going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I think this is a very interesting game between the Vikings and the Eagles, because the loser, I think, really might be kind of going into panic mode, like, hey, we didn't think we were going to lose 3 games all year, and here we've lost 3 games through week 5. So that's a game I really have my eye on. Not so sure I agree with you about it, though. I think I kind of like the Eagles in this game, but it's going to be a fun one to watch because both teams really feel like their backs are against the wall.
Well, and that's the thing. You start racking up losses in September and October, you can kiss a 1 seed or a 2 seed goodbye, and that may be where the Vikings or the Eagles ultimately end up if they lose that game. And then it becomes, can we scratch and claw our way to a wild card berth? Then you got to go on the road. It's far different than getting a bye week, being at home, and having a chance to advance to the next round in front of a friendly crowd. All right, MDS, let's see how this week plays out. All of our picks will be filed and posted at ProFootballTalk.com, not against the spread. And we'll see. Maybe I'll ping pong back to 3-0, from 3-0 to 0-3 to 3-0. We'll keep doing our best to provide some insight when it comes to these games against the spread. MDS, thanks as always for your time. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.